Picture this, you're curled up with a book on a rainy evening, completely absorbed in a story about ordinary people whose lives are about to be turned completely upside down. Maybe it's a mother searching for her missing teenage daughter, or a woman who inherits a mansion filled with deadly secrets, or neighbors whose seemingly perfect lives hide disturbing obsessions. You can't put the book down because every chapter ends with a revelation that makes you question everything you thought you knew. You're reading Lisa Jewell, and you're completely hooked. If you've never heard of Lisa Jewell, you're in for a treat. And if you have, well, you already know why millions of readers around the world consider her the reigning queen of psychological suspense. Her novels have sold more than 15 million copies internationally and have been translated into over 30 languages. She's a #1 New York Times bestseller whose books consistently dominate the charts, and once you pick up one of her novels, you'll understand exactly why. But here's what makes Lisa Jewell truly special. She didn't set out to write psychological thrillers at all. Her journey to becoming one of the most compelling voices in suspense fiction is as surprising and engaging as the plot twists in her novels. Lisa Jewell was born in London in 1968, and her path to becoming a best-selling author began in the most unexpected way. While on vacation in 1996, Lisa Jewell accepted her friend S. challenge to write the beginning of the novel she had always wanted to write. Inspired by the cultural zeitgeist of the late 1990s, Nick Hornby, This Life, Britpop, Radiohead, and her own experiences as a 28-year-old out-of-work secretary living in London, Jewell wrote the first 3 chapters of Ralph's Party after a challenge from a friend and sent 10 copies to agents chosen at random from the Writer's and Artist's Yearbook. What happened next was pure magic. 2 months after she had received her 9th rejection letter, a literary agent asked to see the rest of it, and Jewell got to work, finally typing the end on New Year's Eve 1997. Her first novel, Ralph's Party, was the best-selling debut novel of 1999. From secretary to best-selling novelist in just a few years, it sounds like fiction, but it's Lisa Jewell's real story. For over a decade, Jewell built her reputation writing contemporary fiction and romantic comedies. Books like 30 Nothing, One Hit Wonder, and 31 Dream Street earned her a devoted following and critical acclaim. In 2008, she was awarded the Melissa Nathan Award for Comedy Romance for her novel 31 Dream Street. But then something shifted. Around 2015, Jewell began exploring darker territory, and that's when she discovered her true calling, psychological suspense. What does it feel like to read a Lisa Jewell novel? Imagine the most skilled storyteller you know, someone who can make you care deeply about characters within just a few pages, then gradually reveal that nothing is quite what it seems. Her writing style is deceptively simple, clear, accessible prose that draws you in immediately. But beneath that accessibility lies incredible complexity. Jewell has a gift for creating what feels like domestic realism, families dealing with everyday challenges, neighbors getting to know each other, people falling in love or struggling with loss. Then slowly, she begins to peel back layers. A character mentions something that doesn't quite add up, a timeline doesn't match. Someone is keeping a secret that runs much deeper than you initially realized. By the time you understand the true scope of what's happening, you're completely invested in finding out how it all resolves. Her themes revolve around the hidden darkness that can lurk beneath seemingly ordinary lives. Missing persons cases that haunt families for years. Psychological manipulation and domestic abuse. The way trauma can echo through generations, obsession that turns deadly. But Jewell never exploits these dark subjects for cheap thrills. Instead, she approaches them with empathy and psychological insight, creating stories that feel both suspenseful and deeply human. She's particularly brilliant at writing about family dynamics, the complicated love, resentment, loyalty, and secrets that bind people together or tear them apart. Her characters feel real because they're flawed, sometimes making decisions that frustrated you, sometimes surprising you with their resilience or their capacity for both harm and healing. Now, let's talk about her books, Rather than overwhelming you with a chronological list, let me organize Jewell's novels in a way that will help you understand her evolution as a writer and choose where to start. First, there are her early contemporary novels, which established her reputation as a skilled observer of modern relationships. Ralph's Party remains a beloved classic of late 90s London life. Think Friends meets this life, following 6 residents of a London brownstone whose romantic entanglements culminate in one unforgettable party. After the party revisited those characters 11 years later, showing how their lives had evolved. Other standouts from this period include One Hit Wonder, about a former pop star trying to reconnect with the daughter he never knew, and The Making of Us, which follows for half-siblings discovering their connection to a sperm donor father. But then came her transformation into psychological suspense, and this is where most readers discover Lisa Jewell today. The Girls, published in 2015, marked her transition into darker territory. It's the story of a cult that takes over a family home, told through multiple perspectives across different time periods. This novel showed that Jewell could handle complex, disturbing subject matter while maintaining the character-driven focus that made her earlier work so engaging. Then She Was Gone is often cited as the perfect Lisa Jewell novel, and it's easy to see why. She was 15, her mother's golden girl. That's how the book begins, introducing us to Ellie Mack, a bright teenager who disappeared without a trace 10 years ago. Her mother Laurel has never stopped searching, never stopped grieving. Then Laurel meets Floyd, a charming man who seems to offer her a chance at happiness again. But when she meets his young daughter Poppy, Laurel is stunned because Poppy looks exactly like Ellie. The truth that emerges is both shocking and heartbreaking, a masterclass in how to reveal devastating secrets while maintaining compassion for every character involved. The Family Upstairs series represents Jewell at her most ambitious. The first novel opens with one of the most memorable scenes in recent thriller fiction. 25 years ago in Chelsea, London, the police enter 16 Chain Walk, the mansion of the wealthy Lambs, the home of the famous Martina, wife, model, and mother, with her young children, Henry and Lucy. What they discover is the dead, decomposing bodies of the Lamb parents, and that of another mystery man, with a note that suggests a cult suicide, but strangely they find a 10-month-old baby alive and well cared for, Serenity Lamb, who is later to be adopted. 25 years later, that baby, now called Libby, inherits the house on her 25th birthday. What she discovers about her origins and her family will keep you reading late into the night. The Family Remains, the sequel, picks up the story and manages to be even more complex and satisfying than the first book. Her standalone novels each offer something unique. Watching You explores obsession and surveillance in a seemingly perfect neighborhood. The Night She Disappeared follows the mystery of a young mother who vanishes without a trace, leaving behind only questions and a small child. Invisible Girl delves into the disappearance of a teenage girl and the various suspects in her orbit, including a troubled young woman who might know more than she's saying. None of This Is True is perhaps her most ingenious premise yet. It asks about a podcaster who meets a woman claiming to be her birthday twin, born on the same day. When the woman suggests becoming the subject of the podcaster's next series, what unfolds is a psychological cat and mouse game that questions everything we think we know about truth, identity, and the stories we tell about ourselves. Her most recent release, Don't Let Him In, continues her exploration of how dangerous people can infiltrate our lives. The story follows 3 women connected by one man, a charming, manipulative figure who seems to specialize in targeting vulnerable women. So where should you start if you're new to Lisa Jewell? Here are my top recommendations. If you want to experience her psychological suspense at its finest, begin with Then She Was Gone. It's a perfect introduction to her style, emotionally engaging, brilliantly plotted, and impossible to put down. The mystery is complex but not convoluted, and the emotional payoff is incredibly satisfying. For readers who love books with multiple timeline and intricate plotting, The Family Upstairs is essential. It's ambitious and dark, with one of the most compelling mysteries in recent memory. Just be prepared for some disturbing content, This one doesn't shy away from the psychology of abuse and manipulation. If you prefer your suspense with a more contemporary edge, None of This Is True brilliantly captures our current moment of podcasts, social media, and the blurred lines between public and private life. It's timely and terrifying in equal measure. For those curious about her range, Watching You offers a great balance between domestic drama and psychological suspense. It's set in a picture-perfect neighborhood where everyone is watching everyone else, and the mounting tension is absolutely masterful. Finally, if you want to understand Jewell's journey as a writer, consider starting with Ralph's Party. It's completely different from her current work. Light, funny, romantic, but you can see the seeds of her psychological insight and her gift for complex character relationships. One question readers often ask is whether Lisa Jewell's books need to be read in order. The answer is mostly no. Most of her psychological thrillers are standalones that can be enjoyed independently. The major exception is the Family Upstairs series, where you'll want to read The Family Upstairs before The Family Remains. There are also some minor character connections between Ralph's Party and After the Party, but even those can be read separately. What is remarkable about Lisa Jewell is how she has managed to reinvent herself as a writer while maintaining the qualities that made her special from the beginning. Whether she is writing about young people navigating romance in late 90s London or families torn apart by dark secrets, she brings the same empathy, psychological insight, and storytelling skill to every book. Her evolution from romantic comedy to psychological suspense mirrors a broader trend in fiction, readers' growing appetite for stories that combine literary character development with page-turning plots. Jewell manages to deliver both, creating books that work equally well as character studies and as mysteries. So there you have it, Lisa Jewell, a writer who started with a dare from a friend and has become one of the most compelling voices in contemporary fiction. Whether you're drawn to her early romantic comedies or her recent psychological thrillers, you're in for stories that will stay with you long after you turn the last page. Her books remind us that the most ordinary lives can hide the most extraordinary secrets, and that the people we think we know best might be the ones we understand least of all. Ready to dive into Lisa Jewell's world? Head over to hookit2books.com for the complete reading order, detailed reviews, and recommendations tailored to your preferences. And once you've read your first Lisa Jewell novel, and trust me, it won't be your last, come back and share which one hooked you. Because that's what Lisa Jewell does best. She hooks you completely and utterly, and you'll be grateful for it.